People are sick of the regime. It's a dictatorship.
Of course.
They don't allow different parties, different ideas. It's about controlling all the areas of the people's life. They don't want the people to be free financially and mentally.
Your mind is essentially controlled. You can't speak freely to your friends because they might be spies. So how do you step out of that?
Well, starting with
One of the things I like about the Cesar conversation is how real it gets. Because the reality is that their whole situation on the ground in Cuba is controlled, and there's no easy way out. That being said, I feel like it's important to share the struggles of people that have come from one place to try to get to a better place in hopes that it can be maybe a blueprint for someone else. Maybe someone's listening. Maybe someone out there sees Cesar's story and says, you know what? I'm going to risk my fucking life to at least be in control of my own mind, to at least be able to be in control of my own future. And so that's why we decided to make this podcast, and I hope you'll enjoy.
Why are we here?
Well, we're here because we met in this new application called InDrive, similar like Uber, but at least for drivers and for riders, it's best.
And you were born in Cuba.
Yeah.
And you are now in the United States. And you have specific knowledge, in my opinion, that might be able to help others move from a place of being under control to a place of freedom.
Correct.
So maybe it's important to talk a little bit about your upbringing, if you're open to it.
Of course, 100%. Whatever you want to ask or whatever they want to know, I can share my experience or can share my opinions too. Yes, everybody has an opinion.
So tell me a little bit about that. Like, in what way could you not have differences of opinion growing up?
Like, for example, could be like doing this podcast in the middle of the street or something, and they see the camera and the microphone, they will think about danger.
Danger.
Yeah, because if you say something that the regime don't like, and of course you don't know who's interviewing you, you will be like, are these guys part of the
regime.
And many people will say no, but at least the people that don't have afraid of being in front of a camera and share what they think, mostly these kind of people, they are tired of being suppressed.
Yeah. So Cuba is the only place that I've ever been to that I had to cut my trip short because I felt absolutely controlled in my experience. One time I was on a tour in Viñales, which is like a place that is known for being kind of rebellious historically. And I'm talking to a horseback rider who's telling me the truth about, like, if he's caught with a piece of meat and it's not allowed by the government, he can go to jail for 10 years. But anyway, he's telling me all this stuff. And then his best friend of 30 years comes by, and the guy who's leading the tour completely changes his tone because he doesn't know that his friend of 30 years could possibly be a spy.
That is the point. You know people for many years and you don't know them completely. It's like you need to be careful where and with when we share your ideas. I was in college. I was studying computer science. It wasn't the best moment for me to share that kind of opinions because people started like a rebellion.
Yeah. What year?
And it was 2021.
Uh-huh.
And people took the streets and people were asking to freedom. People are sick of the regime. People don't want the regime. People don't want communism. People are sick of all of that. And what happened was awful because in the middle of this rebellion, the Cuban dictatorship, Miguel Diaz-Canel, he told the police and the secret services of the intelligence to go to the streets and to stop the rebellion, the protest. And what they did was violence against people.
They killed people?
They killed someone.
So what did you do?
I couldn't do anything.
But then at your school, something happened?
Yeah. Then a few months later, there was like I don't know how to say in English, like una huelga de hambre,
Like a hunger strike.
a hunger strike. Yeah, and there was a hunger strike by a movement called Movimiento San Isidro, the San Isidro movement,
Yeah.
and these guys were asking for freedom, free elections, wipe out the communism, and
A group of students,
no, they were artists.
artists.
And what the regime did, it was like putting a camera in front of the house where these guys were staying.
Okay, wait. Let me just.
All right,
Okay, so
What are you-
there's a group of artists called the San Isidro Movement. They were doing art that was protesting the regime, and the regime put a camera in front of their house. And then the San Isidro Movement decided to do a hunger strike.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened next? It was on the middle of COVID, 2021. We see how like lockdowns. What happened? It was like they took these secret service agents and they went on these guys like doctors,
Like doctors?
like doctors.
They pretended to be doctors.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
They tried to knock the door, and these guys say, "We're not opening the door. We know who you are. We are not done. We know who you are. We're in a hunger strike, a pacific protest, and we have rights. Of course, under the Constitution, they have rights. But
But it's
a
bullshit.
dictatorship.
Yeah.
And what happened? These guys broke the door. They get in, started beating these guys,
The artists.
and they took them from this house straight to jail
Yeah.
without trial, without
Yeah, of
nothing.
course.
Like North Korea.
Yeah, of course.
And that pissed me off, really,
It pissed you off.
100%. And I was starting sharing stuff on social media. And I tried to do it quickly because we have only one company that runs the whole communications in the island. And of course, this company
It's run by the
owned
government.
by the government. Well, if we can call it government, of course.
Oh, yeah, you don't like using the word government.
Right.
It's a regime.
Yeah,
All right.
a regime. When they saw these people sharing what happened at San Isidro, they started like cutting the internet, like they did months before in the middle of protests. We had a 3 days internet shutdown.
3 days of international. Yeah. I thought for
We have no communication
Yeah.
to the other countries.
Outside world.
You know, many people in Cuba have families like in the United States,
Yeah.
and they communicate each other daily. And when you see something like, I don't know nothing about my family, it has been 3 days without knowing, like single text or something, it was impossible. They shut down the internet, and they shut down the internet because they didn't want the people to share.
They didn't want people
what
like
was
you
happening.
sharing. Okay, so what did you do?
I couldn't go over there to the streets and protest
Right.
anybody else.
But you use your voice on the internet.
I tried. The dean of my college, of my faculty, he called me. I was like,
He what?
he called me.
He called you.
Hey, I need you to come to my office and we need to talk.
So they call you in, and what happened?
He called me. I was like, kind of strange.
Yeah.
And once I get into the office and they started asking me, who's paying?
Who's paying you?
And I was like, what are you talking about? They were like, who's paying you? And I was like, what these guys are talking about? I couldn't like hold my laugh or something. I started laughing inside
Inside.
and showing like a small smile. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, this is gonna be nuts. They started changing some stuff on my exams.
They would change stuff on your exams.
Yeah, I failed every single exam.
They kept failing you.
Yeah.
So wait, so they're trying to kick you out or make things really difficult for you in school so that you leave or you change your opinion.
Yeah.
They're basically threatening you.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that
Did you please like
yeah.
not telling me straight, hey, you need to go if you don't stop talking while you're talking with your friends.
Yeah.
It was like more dangerous in my opinion because they were endangering my performance
Of course.
college.
I'm always so shocked that 90 miles off the coast of Florida is a place where people are being controlled in the ways that you're talking about. I also, when I was there, realized that the food that we eat in here in Miami, that, for example, is considered Cuban food, the Cubans aren't able to eat. For example, you eat, or the Cubans that grow up in Cuba eat rice, beans, and some like weird fake pork products.
Yeah, for pork, mostly chicken, the last years, and because you know why? Communism.
Well, yeah, but it's also a way that they control you.
Yeah, yeah, you can say that because communism is about controlling all the areas of the people's life. Since you wake up and since you go to sleep, mostly.
But my question is it really the communism that's a problem, or is it a dictatorship that comes in and sells people an idea of communism?
What happens is when you're evolving the socialism to a communism, it has to be a dictatorship.
It has to be.
Yeah, you cannot have different parties, different political parties. No, everything has to be under the control of the Communist Party.
Okay.
And if you have one party system and one president, even if you change your president every 5, 10 years, you still have one party.
Yeah.
It's a dictatorship.
Of course.
That happens with communism. They don't allow different parties, different ideas.
Okay.
An opposition, a real opposition, they don't allow that.
Well, let's talk about it. What is the problem with communism?
The problem with communism is that they don't want the people to be free financially and mentally.
Yeah. So they keep you making a certain amount of money. Everyone makes a certain amount of money.
Exactly. If you don't work for the government, you have to make your way through life just to live.
Right. I remember at the time that I was there, everyone made $30 essentially a month.
Yeah, it was the average. Yeah.
And then if you go in as a tourist, you have a different currency than the locals. So the locals are made sure to stay at that level.
Yeah. What happened with that? It was at the 90s.
A what?
It was in the 90s.
In the 90s, yeah.
In the 90s, Fidel Castro penalized the dollar.
Yeah.
And whoever has a dollar, whoever the amount that you have, those are the years that you spend in jail.
Oh, wow.
If you had $20 in your pocket
20.
and the police caught you, 20 years in jail just for having $20 in your pocket.
I don't want to go too much into the history because I want to focus on your experience.
All right.
And not only that, but I want to paint the picture of this system of control because you're now, okay, when you're growing up in Cuba, you have, like you said, your mind is essentially controlled. You can't speak freely to your friends because they might be spies. You have no ability to dream because your entire life is controlled and you're going to make the same amount as everyone else no matter what you do. So how do you step out of that?
Well, starting with speaking with friends, many people go to war with the regime.
Many people go to war with the regime.
To work.
To work. Oh, many people work for the
For
regime.
the regime.
Yeah.
Because they are like the 99% of Cubans.
You're saying 99% of Cubans work for the regime?
No. I'm talking like we have a lot of poverty in Cuba. Like 99% of Cuba, they are poor. And
On purpose.
on purpose, not because you don't have many opportunities to get out of poverty.
Well, but even if you got out of poverty, your money would be controlled anyway.
Yeah, I mean, in some way, yeah, you're right. What happened is many people choose to be a regime spy.
Because they get paid?
They get paid and they get food and they get like motorcycle or maybe a car. Not for them. Those are for of the regime, but they can use it to do the regime's spying work.
Got it. So people, as a
They got
result,
these privileges.
okay. And I want to reiterate one point here. because they get extra food from the regime, because they get certain privileges, they're going to then be more likely to sign up to be a spy.
Yeah.
Okay. And
You have needs
people have needs.
and families.
Yeah.
And what they think is like, I need to feed my family.
Of course.
I respect that.
You do.
Yeah, I respect that because a man has to do whatever they need to do to feed their families.
Sure.
And I respect that. What I don't respect is like if you are a certain power position, on a privileged position, you cannot go outside for the people's life. Know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And not all of them do that. I had friends that they were spies.
They would tell you?
Yeah.
They would say, hey, don't tell me what you're about to say.
No,
The
no,
spy?
they don't care. If they think like me. Why are they working for the regime? Because they have privileges.
Of course. But if you could you speak freely with them? You could.
Yeah. And I can tell like more than a half of these spies, they are normal Cubans.
Could you tell who was dangerous and who wasn't to you?
Yeah, you can tell.
Because you could get real with some,
Yeah.
it's not, and some would not.
Like how they dress, how they talk, what they talk.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's pretty easy for Cubans, at least nowadays, to difference what
Differentiate.
kind
Yeah.
of spy he is. If he's really a spy, of he's really like he's using this work to get some privilege.
And you never signed up to be a spy to get food?
Never, ever.
Why?
I got morals.
Okay.
And
But okay, this is interesting to me.
yeah,
How were you raised to, despite all of the things that are being done to you to control you, for you to stay true to your morals, even if it means getting all these privileges and more food? Like, what about your upbringing made it so that you already knew at an early age that you weren't going to become a spy and get all these privileges?
first, I never knew at the beginning,
You never knew what?
like the dangers of my society. It's like you growing up since childhood, singing these songs,
Like patriotic songs?
reading their books,
Yeah.
reading their history, and it's pretty hard to see a difference when you're early age, like when you're good and what's bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like your mind
You're a
is,
kid, you don't care about that. You only care for playing with your friends and watching cartoons on TV and this kind of stuff. Once that you're growing up and you start like socializing more in the real world, like going to parties, falling in love with a woman or something, it's when you realize what's really dangerous for you to do or to say.
but there's something that differentiated you from everyone else in some way because you're here. I have to think that something in your upbringing made you more inclined to question things.
What I can remember, it's my father, rest in peace.
Your father had passed.
Yeah. It's my father telling me, you need to work hard. You need to fail.
You need to fail.
Yeah. He told me, you need to fail to see your mistakes and try to change it. If you don't fail, you won't get knowledge. You won't get clarity in your views on your path through life. But every time you fail, you need strength to get up and keep walking or keep doing whatever you need to do. At the beginning, I wasn't understanding anything. I was like, what this guy is telling me? You're my father and you tell me I need to fail, that I need to suffer just to realize the value of things or to change my point of view about situations in life. Past through the years, I was realizing that he was right. He gave me a lot of values about hard working and trying to stay in control of my mind.
What does that mean?
Because he told me you will get involved in situations in life that could be dangerous or could be good for you. It depends on what you do at the moment. You need to choose. Everything in life is about uh, choosing a way,
Choosing a path, yeah.
a path. Yeah. I realized that the moment that I decided to, okay, I'm not continuing at the college.
Oh, so after
I'm quitting the college.
you quit the college because of all the bullshit that they were doing?
Yeah, about the dean and this stuff that I told you before. And it was like, okay, I need I need to go to a place that I can say whatever I want, that I can do whatever I want without being questioned, that I can think freely, that I can have freedom to go and to do and to think. I was searching freedom.
What?
Freedom. I was looking for
You were looking for freedom.
once you grow up in Cuba without any opportunity to go to another place just because you want to change your life, you start realizing that you are in a mental cage.
Yeah.
And that mental cage, since your birth,
You were born in a mental cage.
okay, because they try to indoctrinate what you need to think, what you need to say, and what you need to do.
Totally. So you were like,
I couldn't do it.
fuck this shit.
Exactly.
I'm going to America.
Exactly.
Okay.
I had an argument with my mother about it. I was like, Mom, I'm sorry. I really apologize to you. I really apologize if I'm failing you, but I cannot shut out my mouth. I cannot do it. I cannot put that stuff in my heart and looking in my heart because I'm not feeling good about all this stuff that it's happening in my life. And I need to get out of Cuba and go to somewhere else or stay here in Cuba, sharing my views and get imprisoned.
And what'd she say?
If you want to go to another country, I will support you. I don't know how long it's gonna be for me to see you again, to hug you again, to kiss you again. But I already live my life and you need to live yours. And whatever you want to do, I'll support you. I love you and go ahead. Pursue your dream.
So what did the process of coming over, how did that look?
Going through Central America, from Mexico up to the southern border.
Was it dangerous?
Yeah, it was dangerous.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hi. How are you? Andrés, hablo español, sí. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bueno, gracias.
bueno. ¿En dónde estábamos? Me perdí.
Que estabas in, sorry, you were in the process of, you came through Central America.
Yeah,
Was it dangerous?
yeah, it was.
What happened? How did it work?
Well, first of all, you need to take a flight
To where?
to Nicaragua
Okay.
because it was like one of the few countries that have free visa to Cubans. So I took a flight to Nicaragua. This kind of dangerous to say on camera, but you go to these guys, if you know.
Like coyotes or
Yeah.
like, you don't have to talk about
No,
it.
don't worry, don't worry. You go to these guys, you pay them,
Yeah.
and you do all this stuff. Of course, it's dangerous. You're going through the jungle, you're going through dangerous cartel songs.
It's situations that were really dangerous.
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to maybe die at some point?
Not really. I was like chilling at some point.
Chilling?
Yeah, relax it.
Okay.
Because they were women in this group because we were traveling in group. And if you see the man like nervous or afraid or something, you will share the afraid.
Yeah, the fear will be
You
contagious.
everybody else.
Were they all Cubans? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
all Cubans. There was a friend, and she was like me alone on this journey. And it was like, hey, I'm alone like you. I will help you go through all this stage.
Both of you help each other.
And after the first stage, it was like, hey, don't go away. Don't go away. I feel safe with you. And I told her, okay, I will be by your side at any time, any moment, any minute, and a second. So you don't be afraid. I'm here with you. I'm protecting you. And I started like realizing that I needed to be strong, not for me.
For her.
This time for two, for me and for her. And it was like I changed my mindset in the survival mode, and I started journeying, crossing Nicaragua, crossing Honduras, crossing Guatemala, and crossing Mexico. And the most dangerous one definitely was Mexico.
Going into Mexico or going from Mexico to the United States?
Inside Mexico,
Why was it so dangerous?
cartels.
And like, how would you have interactions with them?
Yeah, because they share like this whole business,
Yeah,
so they only move in mercancy.
right. They're moving
We are
product.
we are the product.
You're the product.
We pay them up. We are the product.
Yeah.
And what happened? It was like once that you get into the country, the product goes to other hands
Yes.
to this different group. Of course, they need to get paid each other and this.
How much was it in total that you needed to have?
So it was mostly it was like $9,000
$9,000.
inside Mexico. It's most dangerous because they have like a special immigration patrol. The this patrol it's like lurking, just looking for illegal immigrants
Yeah.
to deport them.
So you.
But once that we passed the Mexico City,
Yeah.
we were chased by an agent in disguise.
You knew you were being followed.
Yeah, and I knew that because this guy was driving a pickup truck.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange. A few people in Mexico drive pickup trucks, but not this kind of pickup truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could tell you it was like weird and strange. And I told the driver, "Hey, this guy right here."
Be careful.
I sent him a text message. It was like, "Okay, let me act naturally, and let me take a look." When I saw what this guy was doing, he was taking pictures of the car that we were. And I told him, "Hey, this is an agent in disguise.
This is what?
Yeah, an agent
Yeah.
in disguise. We need to get out of here."
Yeah.
This guy is taking pictures of the plates of the cars.
Yeah.
And the driver came pretty fast, and we started being chased we started in a chase with the cops behind us. Then we get into a neighborhood without lights, like an abandoned town. And we stopped the car, we turned off the lights, and it was like maybe turning off the lights, nobody could see us.
Yeah.
And the cars that were behind us, traveling with people too, they parked like 100 feet away from us. And what happened next? It was like weird noises,
A what?
weird
noises?
truck gas.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I realized it. Some guys came to a balcony and started shooting over cars.
No way.
Yeah, and a guy got shot.
In your car?
No, in the car behind her. A guy got shot, and in my car, one shot gave us a flat tire. It was like really lucky that was
Just
the shot in the tire, not in any of us. And I had to take like all my feelings inside and melting all them together to converting all those feelings in strength, because I was the only man on the car. And if I get nervous, what happened to the ladies?
they're all gonna get nervous too.
And I was like, "Hey ladies, calm down. We getting out of here."
We're gonna make it.
And we made it.
Did you leave the car?
No. The driver, he started the engine pretty quick, and we went out of here.
Even with the flat tire?
We went out of there, even with the flat tire. And then like 5 miles away, we switched cars.
Wow. Okay, so then what happens when you cross into the U.S.?
When I cross into the U.S.,
Are you passing it? I'm imagining you're like walking
the river.
You cross the Rio Grande. Swimming?
No,
Walking.
walking.
Okay, it's not that deep.
Yeah, it's deep.
It is deep.
Yeah,
Like up to where?
onto your neck.
Oh my God, you're walking across, and then the river is flowing,
Yeah,
and you're holding hands with everyone else.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and well, holding hands. You're holding a rope
A rope.
because you need to hang your stuff in your hands. So you hang in the rope and your stuff in your hands.
But how much stuff do you have?
Just a backpack
A ba-
with some clothes and nothing else. I started changing my clothes. It was cold as fuck.
What month?
It was April 1st.
And you're crossing at night?
No, we closed it at the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah, pretty early in the morning. It was like 9, 10 in the morning.
Holy shit.
Then once you cross the river, you see on this desertic area
Yeah. It's all
a bunch
desert.
of garbage, food, clothes, shoes, because people change the clothes
When they cross the river. Uh-huh.
and it's awful,
It's awful?
dirty as fuck.
Okay.
Then you need to wait to the border patrol agents, and then
Like, what, are you hiding behind something?
No. You go straight to the border patrol agents
Oh, why?
because they put you on minivans, and then they send you to an immigration center.
This is because you're Cuban, that if you make it to America,
Everybody.
but don't you want to avoid them?
I wish I could avoid.
But you knew that you weren't going to be able to avoid them.
I couldn't do anything.
Okay, so, but then aren't you basically essentially going to prison?
Not really.
So
You exaggerate about that.
okay, so you go to the border patrol and they put you in like some processing area,
Yeah.
and then what?
They took your fingerprints. They took not your fingerprints. They took a picture. They took your data. If you had a passport, they will get your information from your passport. They will ask you about if you have any health condition, this kind of stuff, and they'll tell you, okay, you will get a call in a few hours from a lawyer, a federal lawyer, because of course you're right here, you don't have money or something or any contact, call a lawyer to represent you in the immigration process. And then they will take you to this place like prison, but it's not a prison, it's pretty clean.
Yeah,
It's pretty clean.
it's the one that's supposedly really cold.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. They call it the freezer. Yeah.
And it really was
You have
cold.
like this space, a bunch of people
Yeah.
sleeping on the floor and this kind of stuff.
How long were you there?
I've been there like 48 hours.
Okay. Okay. So you make it to America. And, this podcast in many ways is sort of highlighting stories of people who think outside the box and are slightly rebellious. Maybe in the context of Cuba, being a rebel is seen as a bad thing. But what does that kind of entail for you? What does it mean to be a rebel right now?
To be a rebel, I guess going different with the mainstream.
Yeah. And do you feel that you are one?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
Because right now, for example, be a rebel, it's to be a conservative, or at least have a certain values about being a conservative
Uh-huh.
in a different ways of life.
So now, like, what is your hope for yourself?
My help for myself, maybe start a family.
Yeah.
That could be my main goal.
Do you have any desire to, like, I don't know, change what's happening in Cuba? Or is it more like you're here? Yeah.
Yeah. That the president could be me, for example.
You would
Change Cuba.
you would want that?
I wish I could do it.
Do you think you will?
Yeah, Cuba doesn't have any remedy.
What is the way out of this current situation?
The way out, the first point could be free elections,
Yeah.
so the people can know what feels
But what
to get free elections.
what incentive does a regime have in allowing for free election?
That you don't have different parties or you don't have different candidates.
But the regime will control that.
Except
So how else can we change things?
wiping out the regime.
We got to wipe out the regime.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about imprisonment there. Of course, I'm not talking about kill them,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about put all these guys together in a plane and send them to North Korea, for example. You want communism? Go to the communism land. It's gonna be like a fairy tale for you. Go over there. I'm against violence, of course. Yeah. So wiping out the regime, putting them all together in a plane, and sending the plane to North Korea.
So like acts of rebellion.
Yeah. Of course, I cannot allow the people to go and kill someone just because I know that they did bad things.
Yeah.
But you cannot impose violence or at least be permissive with violence in your society if you want to change, if you want to change the mindset of the society.
You think that you can't use violence.
No, you cannot.
So even in this whole case that we've been hearing about Luigi and the United Healthcare CEO, a lot of people are saying
No, that's bad.
he deserved to die because
No, he didn't deserve to die. There are bad people that can do bad stuff behind a desk, in this case, or because they are making too much money and the workers are like struggling paycheck to paycheck. And there are the other different kind of bad people that they go to streets, punching people, robbing,
yeah.
or kidnapping or something like this. It's different.
But don't you think that there's so much overwhelming power that the regime has? How do you get the power back in order to mount a response that changes something?
Having more power.
But how can people have more
Cannot
power?
be the big power if you don't have the equal amount of power or more power that they have.
Yeah, and how the hell are the Cubans supposed to do that under their system of control?
Right now, it's impossible
Right.
because you don't have this national feeling that can bring unity.
Yeah.
All Cubans together, like they did in the 80s and 90s on the communist regimes in East Europe,
Yeah.
that they started rebelling against the Soviet Union, and they changed their countries. We can do have that in Cuba because I think Cubans don't have that unity feeling.
Right. Because it's been kind of taken away.
We have
Go ahead.
a say in Cuba, divide y vencerás, divide and conquer.
Dividido en
Divide y vencerás, divide and conquer.
divide and conquer.
And what happening with the Cuban regime that they did that in the people.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they did.
You can divide people in this guy has this and you don't have, then you need to hate these guys because he's rich and you poor. This kind of stuff. Know what I mean?
Of course.
They started like changing the mindset of Cubans into envy.
Yeah, they envy each other.
Yeah.
And that divide.
And what happened with envy and this kind of frustration is that you will never have unity to get something in common.
But Cesar, I hear a lot of people in my audience thinking, you're not advocating for violence. Okay. I'm with you. Truly. I just don't understand how you're supposed to
Not 100%. Only advocating violence to protect your family,
Sure.
whatever it costs.
But that's fine. If to protect, I get that. But I guess in a time when so many people feel powerless against the
Big guys.
the big guys, how do we get our power back? How?
It's difficult. It's pretty difficult. And
Like, aren't we? It won't be a
I
rebellion.
don't have the answer.
Okay, yeah.
You don't have the answer.
I don't have the answer for shit.
And we can call anybody here right now on the street and they don't even have the answer.
I actually do have an answer. Okay, bear with me. The answer, I think, actually, is this is why this conversation is so important. Because the process that you went through to liberate yourself is the process that maybe others can follow to liberate themselves, even despite a regime or people who are in power above them. What does that sound like to you?
Well,
Does that sound like bullshit?
sounds like me like you need to convert yourself into one of those guys to start making a difference
You need to convert yourself into what guy?
in wanting to be guys.
You have to become a big guy in order to bring him down.
It's like you start a fight between an elephant and a dog. Who's gonna win?
Yeah. But then, so
You
what
need to
if
convert yourself into a big animal to face off the elephant. You need a big power to face off another big power.
So is that the message you would give to other Cubans?
Yeah.
Which is?
You need unity. The only big power that Cubans can make to wipe out the regime is unity.
And that
Nothing
happens
else.
and that happens through like communication
Communication.
and figuring out a way
Lack of communication.
to communicate.
Because, of course, there are people that like the regime, and they are the people that they don't want to lose these privileges
Sure.
for working for the regime.
Yeah.
But in the other half, you have the people that have nothing, the people that don't like the way of life that they having right now, and you have the people that they want the regime getting out of their lives because they just want freedom. And how you convince a divided country to get a common point in pursuit of a good future for your own country? It's complicated.
It is complicated. I mean, I understand the point of unity. I still come back to the idea. The reason why I do what I'm doing is because I truly believe that the blueprint of an individual to free themselves is the blueprint that then can be listened to, applied, and followed to someone else. Like, so maybe there's a Cuban out there that somehow comes across this podcast and is like, oh, here's a guy, Cesar, who fucking made it happen somehow. He freed himself. These are the lessons that he learned from his father about freeing the mind. And if he was able to free himself by freeing his mind, maybe I can free my mind. And if enough people listen to that, then there can be unity.
In my opinion, the first step to have that freedom for yourself is that you need an opinion, an ideal. You need your own thoughts. You cannot let somebody else to think, well, for yourself. You need to do all by yourself. And the second step for it, it's respecting different opinions that the different people have.
Why is that so important?
Because once that you realize that the other people's opinion matters, it's gonna be easier for you to find a middle point.
For unity.
Yeah.
I think what I'm hearing from you is that in order to bring about change in the world, you first need to free your mind and you need to find unity with other people.
Yeah.
And with those things, you can change the world.
And have respect for different opinions.
Different opinions. Yeah.
Something that in the Congress you cannot see.
Right.
Of course.
Okay. I have two last questions. One, what happened to the girl that you guys were taking care of each other when y'all were crossing?
No. We are friends right now.
She live here?
No, she lives in Kissimmee or Tampa. I don't know.
You made it.
Yeah, she made it.
And she's doing well?
She's doing well.
Good.
Paycheck to paycheck, like
Yeah.
most of us.
Yeah.
Like myself, of course. But at least she's free. And she told me every time. It's pretty sad what my family say to me every single time that I call them.
What do they say?
It's tough to be in Cuba now.
It's tough to be in Cuba.
A lot.
You talk to your mom
Yeah, every single day.
and she's okay?
She's okay, but I guess not 100% because she's my mother and she don't want me to see her but sad or something.
Yeah.
She don't want me to be worried about something that I shouldn't be focused right now. And she told me every single night, you need to be focused on yourself and be successful. Once that you can make the small steps that you need to do, then you will help us without being a charge for you.
What's your dream for yourself?
My dream for myself, provide for my family
Yeah.
and get my own family.
Hell yeah. And then lastly, these podcasts, these conversations, I like to end it with a question, but it's not a question that I'm asking you. It's a question that you would ask someone to ask themselves if they were listening to this podcast. Some question that would benefit their life if they asked themselves. What question would that be?
It's interesting, because first of all, everybody has different problems on a daily basis, but I think that we have something in common at the end of the day, and is at the time that we're going to bed, waiting to falling asleep, that we are quiet or calm. And I would say, do you really think that your problems are rough or too bad the way you're thinking that they are? Just think about it, because there are people worse than you. So be grateful for your lifestyle, because there are people suffering in a really good condition too.
And why does that perspective matter?
Because once that you realize that you you are in a better position than others, at least you can get some strength for yourself to face off the day. Whatever happens in the day, someone could be worse than me. It's simple like that. Just be grateful. And the question itself is how grateful you are for the things that you own and have. That is the question.
How grateful are you for the things you already have? Sweet. Thanks, my friend.
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure, man.